All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Eric Cruz. I work with Propy. We are amongst phenomenal real estate individuals right here in South Miami or South Florida, and really excited for this panel because these are, I don't know, can we relate you guys to gods of real estate because of what you've done? My name is Eric Cruz. Really quickly, what I want to do because it's a luxury panel, and I want to say because defining what luxury is so different for so many people. It could be a price point, it could be amenities, whatever it is. But being in luxury real estate, what does luxury actually mean to you?
I would say that luxury evokes an emotion based on the specific person, whether it's the quality of a building, the services, the amenities. Luxury can range from a few $100,000 up to tens of millions of dollars. So it's really that emotion that it evokes within the person living there or the potential buyer.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I think that um, ultimately, if you're looking at ultra luxury, I think that craftsmanship, details, quality of materials is extremely important. But I think that depending on what people are looking for and what they're accustomed to, leveling up in a way, the next level of access to all of those things is a relative luxury as well.
Hi everyone. So the luxury, I would say, it's all relative first. Yeah, definitely it's relative. For someone, maybe it's number of services that you have in the building. For someone, luxury, it's maybe a location of your house on a quiet side of the island, for example, where boats with the tourists cannot pass by. For someone else, it's just a service. I would say that's all. Yes.
This year has been a strange year, I'd say, in real estate. We've had rates go up, we had rates go down, rates go back up. Buyers seem like they're kind of holding off to this election and what's going on. But real estate still needs to be sold, right? That's the number one. How do you, as who you are, make sure that real estate is still sold? And does the luxury market, is there kind of like an influx in these buyers, or is it just constant?
I'll jump in. I mean, from our perspective, when you handle a vast array of development inventory, for example, we try and respond to the changes as much as possible and be nimble with offering incentives and other things for buyers to pique their interest in spite of maybe something that economically might make it less attractive of timing. So whether, interest rates peak up a little bit and we decide to roll out a 1 year HOA credit to kind of offset some of those expenses or different motivators like that, we try and respond a little bit proactively to appeal to the consumer regardless from a development inventory standpoint.
Interesting. I've never thought about that, the HOA aspect of it.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Um, so can you repeat the question, Eric? If the buyer still like, what is the difference if we still have a buyers coming in all the year, or
Yeah, how
uh,
do you counter the
yeah,
market? When there's a market like there is today,
yep.
where buyers are kind of just waiting around to see what happens. You know, what
Yeah.
do you do to counter it?
Usually, I would say first of all, we are in. It was time before the election. What I see from my experience, prior to election, most of our, I would say, like the buyers, like if we're talking about certain type of sales, right? If we're talking about someone who needs to buy a house that he's going to live in there, then he does not have a choice. He needs to make that move right now. But if we're talking about the buyer who's going to buy a condo house, their second or third vacation property, so they can hold some time and see what is the how the election, I would say, is going to be finished, and then they will move no matter what's going to happen, right? And plus, Miami is seasonal market. Usually in summers, it was always like that. Summers it's a bit slower, and then we have once winter is coming. Yeah, I'm smiling because I'm happy about the winter. And once winter is coming, everybody's in a different states, different parts of the world. They kind of waking up. They're like, okay, it's getting colder. let's see where I can go, and then people start thinking about Miami, right? And if they already have been looking for properties, they start kind of asking question, and they more ready to buy to make a move.
From a luxury realtor standpoint, I'm always trying to look at how healthy my pipeline is. So we know that there's seasonality in South Florida. The market's velocity has definitely tightened up. But what we do as, a top team is, the deals that we're working on now, even if they don't convert, we're always trying to think of how healthy our pipeline feels. Because somebody we're working on now, even though the market's tightened up, will convert into a sale eventually. So, I always say, a lot of realtors, even, some teammates who are here today, take the summers off, because we don't see as many sales. But when you're working during the summer and you're working hard, that pipeline continues to fill and it will turn into sales, whether it's in season or maybe a year from now. And then when you have that full pipeline, it doesn't matter when the market slows or quickens, that pipeline is really the key, is just to keep that, the constant velocity of sales, amongst the team. So.
That's great. It's great to hear you talk about pipelines because it reminds me that it's still sales, right? Like so often you think about luxury, you think about real estate, and you're like, oh man, well you can do, a $15 million deal, and then you don't have to really work for the next couple of months, right? But that's not really how it is. It's an always constant of you always having to keep up with your relationships and everything. In that matter of fact, building these relationships, being real estate is relationship based, you know, how is it that you are kind of always in front of your clients and keeping your pipelines fresh and ready?
Yeah, I mean, I think amongst, top realtors, everyone up here, a lot of newer realtors or less successful realtors, I don't think they understand how much marketing we truly do. We're really in the marketing business, whether it's uh, online marketing, whether it's um, paper, postcards, networking, hosting events. Everything I look at is a marketing opportunity, including speaking here today. Um, Potential brokers are potential referral partners. We're constantly marketing, we're constantly following up with our database, and we're really into our CRM, uh, putting in follow-ups on each and every relationship and client, and just staying in touch with them, trying to add value wherever we can.
Yeah, I think that we try and host a lot of events as well, bringing people together and having an excuse to get a group together. It's a numbers game, and so having events constantly at the projects allows us to stay top of mind as well, whether they're at the sales office or whether we're doing a promotional event in a, country club in Bogota or what have you. We're trying to stay in front of people physically as well.
You asked how much. I think there's never enough. The marketing you can do everything that works for you, and if it's not working for you, you have to figure out the way how it's gonna work for you. For example, when I started digital marketing, first company that offered me services, after 1 year they just give up because they said it's not working. So I found a way how it was working for me, and I continue to work. I do have a lot of digital marketing. Even other brokers tell me they sees me like everywhere pretty much. Digital marketing, postcards, events, as guys mentioned before. You can invite your clients to events, you can host them. It depends if they buyers, sellers, doesn't really matter. As well as you can invite them. We just recently had a boat show, and we have a couple of boat manufacturer companies. They're our friends. We gave them a couple of invites, and actually that's also helped. It was one of our sellers. He had a waterfront house in Miami. After our event, he decided to list with us, and all those things are working properly. Plus, on top of it, of course, you make calls, you make text messages, email marketing, like everything. You have to try, because sometimes you can, I mean, you can spend a lot of money, as Steven mentioned, on the marketing. I don't know, it depends, right? It's all relative. Maybe 5,000, 20, 50, 100,000 a month. And then you meet that person in real life. And that's what's going to make a huge difference. Or opposite, maybe he's going to see you at the conference like this, and it's going to make a difference as well.
You're at that boat show. Weren't you?
Yeah, we held a big event. We had a strategic partnership with one of the largest yacht brokers who used one of our listings to ferry high net worth clients to the show. So for us, it was a perfect partnership, and we definitely met a lot of potential buyers and high end clients, and we actually made some friends that flew down
Yeah, that's
this
awesome.
weekend.
All right, so high-end individuals can probably be or have high expectations. Some of those can't always be provided. Is there an example that you have that just kind of rings a bell and says, "Oh, I remember someone wanted this and there was just no way." Was there a time of expectations that you just couldn't match?
I have a ridiculous I have a ridiculous one. We had a buyer of a penthouse. At the time it was like an extraordinary record-setting price. And this gentleman wanted the developer to build him an indoor shooting range in his penthouse unit, which we were not able to accommodate. But he ultimately bought the unit, but it was one of those requests that you're like, what?
That's pretty funny.
It is
I've
pretty
never heard of
bizarre.
that one.
Pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, the most common one is just ridiculous price expectations on some of these listings. Um, there's been times where we've quoted half the price, tens of millions of less of what I think the valuation of their home is. And to me, it's not worth the time. Our most valuable asset is time, and we spend a lot of money marketing these properties. So I don't mind working with a difficult client, but when they have really unreasonable expectations, that might be the best time to not work with them.
And how do you navigate like that conversation, right? If they have those expectations, like there's no way that $10 million less would want to buy it for. Like, how do you actually manage that conversation with them?
I mean, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to support it with facts. A lot of people, what started happening was a lot of these listings that come on the market look at the listing prices of similar homes in their neighborhood versus what we traditionally used to do pre-COVID was look at what actually sold in the neighborhood. So if you can provide them facts, it's hard for the client to argue with that.
I did not have anything like that, as Alicia just mentioned.
Oh, every client's perfect, huh?
No, I cannot say perfect. Of course, everybody has their needs, right? Steven mentioned some sellers, they want to have, for example, 10 million for their house. If it's only five, it happens. It's very often. I think it's just you have to give them facts, right? And you educate them, but nothing like a shooting range or a farm. No, not yet. Not yet.
Are you guys constantly educating yourself in what the current market is doing currently, where it's going to go? Like, are you guys getting kind of like with graphs and trying to figure out what to do? Or is it just on a case by case basis? Every client has different needs. Every client is a new person, and that's just how you go. Or is there strategy to going after your clients?
I mean, I think it's perpetual. I mean, you have to be learning every day. Ultimately, you have like a mini encyclopedia in your head. If someone asks you more or less, what is this worth? You can kind of you just know, because you've been following it for so long. So yeah, like before I came here, I was working on a market study for a condominium, looking at comps, seeing how things have progressed in price over the past year in a certain neighborhood. So we're looking at comparables and pricing all the time to be able to negotiate with both our buyers and our sellers and provide information to overcome objections for sure.
Yeah, definitely. As Alicia just mentioned, you have to study all the time. It's just on a daily basis. Like what I do every day, I read the Real Deal, Sotheby's Journal, and other like internet magazines, as well as what's in the market, what's been sold, what's available. And it gives you an advantage, right? When you talk to a client and he asks you about something, what's been sold, for example, or what's in the market, or maybe or what's off market as well, and it gives you really big advantage. That's why they do business with you because you're more knowledgeable than someone else, and you have to do it. There is no other way.
2020 with COVID, it kind of was the catalyst for technology. How has your business changed in that sense, in technology wise?
The first thing that comes to mind was as soon as COVID hit, things slowed, but then everybody wanted to start coming to Florida or purchase something, and a lot of them couldn't. So I think we had discussed earlier that Zoom presentations and digital presentations and marketing assets that could be sent out of state became huge, where people could pre-qualify properties, identify a short list, and then make that maybe short trip down here to pick out a property. So definitely online digital presentations became really prevalent, and to this day we still do a ton of them. It's become a great resource to narrow down properties, learn neighborhoods prior to their out-of-state buyers coming into town.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that the whole sight unseen acquisition shift, people got really comfortable with that. And it's tremendously changed our industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree the same thing. A lot of transactions with the just with the Zoom, right? Without coming here, and we've done multiple transactions with the same clients, and whenever I never see that person in real life, and he purchased like different properties from us. And of course, when you use all those I would say tools that you can do right now as a social media and everything, it gives you more credibility, and clients have trust in you. Plus, as I mentioned, digital marketing helps a lot. E-signs, DocuSigns. Plus, since the 2020, you you before like when you need to sell a property here in Miami, you had to go if you not in the US, you have to go to embassy, and you need to sign papers, and that's how you sell property. And when 2020 happened, you can do everything on Zoom with a notary from different states, for example.
Makes it easier, doesn't it?
Yep.
Lastly, what was your largest transaction?
Mine is I'm thinking, it was the 19 million so far. If we're talking about
Yeah.
just single transaction, yeah.
Yeah, 19
It
million.
didn't happen yet. That's actually what I wanted to say. My largest.
Okay, good.
So I transact differently because I don't actually like transact on a one-off, but I mean, my listings are buildings, and they range from around, I would say, 120 million to just under $1 billion. I think as a like our portfolio, we have around 2 billion in pre-construction development listings at the moment. And so, yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. Steven.
This year we closed a $29 million full floor penthouse in Sunny Isles. And then I would say our typical average price point would be about 5 million, and then a lot in that 10 to 15 million range.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy days to be here with us. So, and congratulations on all your success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.